Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatley Tones Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. Now in today's video I'm going to be ranking my favourite top 20 Paul McCartney B-sides. Now the B-side is a much maligned beast, a place to sort of dump songs, throwaway songs on the back of singles, but Paul McCartney has had a long career, and there are songs that he has thrown away on B-sides, just like the Beatles did before him, that deserve to be celebrated. Now this is of course my favourite top 20, and there's quite a few here that quite a few songs that I do really like that turned up as B-sides that are not included here because they haven't made the top 20, but I've had to make myself a few rules here for this chart. So first of all, the song has to be a genuine B-side, and by that I mean it doesn't appear anywhere else apart from the B-side of a single. So in other words, if you've got an album track that has been dumped on the B-side of a single, but it appears on an album, then that's not included. So for example, you can take the single Band on the Run, the B-side Zoo Gang, that is a genuine B-side, doesn't really appear anywhere else, whereas Let Me Roll It, which was the B-side of Jet, obviously appeared on the Band on the Run album, so that is not included. I'm also not including any of Paul's covers of Beatles songs or John Lennon songs in this that have appeared on B-sides. And another thing that you have to take into consideration is different countries had different B-sides of different singles. Now I'm working on this purely from a UK single point of view, so songs that I have included here may not have been a B-side in in the US or in Canada or something like that, so I'm sticking to sort of songs that appeared as B-sides of UK singles. Now it's quite interesting because Paul is really the only solo Beatle that we could do a chart like this for, because if you look at John's singles, there weren't that many of them, and the B-sides were usually songs that were either written or sung or both by Yoko. George and Ringo had a handful of standalone B-sides, maybe 2 or 3 each, but but Paul has had quite a lot. This is going to be my this is my top 20. I know it's not going to agree with your top 20. If you want to tell me what your top 20 is, or your top 10, or your top 5, whatever you want to tell me, please do so down in the comments below. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, so at number 20, I've gone for the B-side of Ebony and Ivory. This is the 12-inch single, Rain Clouds. There is the vinyl that contains Rain Clouds. Now, Rain Clouds, a song co-written by Paul and Denny Laine, and I guess originally mooted for the follow-up album to Back to the Egg, the Next Wings album, which never materialised. Now, work on Rain Clouds started on December the 8th, 1980, obviously the day that John was murdered, but obviously during the day here in the UK where it was recorded, this news hadn't happened yet, but they went in the next day, December the 9th, where the news was known, and Paul decided to immerse himself in work as a way of coping with what happened. This is a very Wingsy song, a folk ballad, as they, co-written by Paul and Denny Laine. I think Paul and Denny playing 12-string guitars on this, Paul also playing kick drum on this, but the harmonies are very Wings, with Linda and Denny putting those harmonies together. Now, Rain Clouds, not a fantastic song, but it's a good song and it's one I enjoy, and that one I'm placing at number 20. By the way, if you want to seek out the track Rain Clouds without having to buy the single, you can find it on the as a bonus audio track on the Tug of War archive collection. Okay, at number 19 from the CD era, a B-side of the CD single Young Boy from Flaming Pie, the track Broomstick. This is a great song. I really like this song. It's full of syncopation, stops and starts. It's kind of an acoustic-y blues sort of song. Paul playing pretty much every instrument on it apart from acoustic guitar and electric guitar, although I think he might play a little bit of that as well. But Steve Miller adding acoustic guitar and electric guitar. Really great track that I really like a lot. That's my number 19, Broomstick. If you want to seek this one out, this is a bonus audio track on the Flaming Pie archive collection. Okay, at number 18, I've gone for the B-side of Take It Away, which is I'll Give You a Ring. There is the vinyl for this one. Now, I think that we can date this song back to about 1974. The fact that Paul played it during the one-hand clapping sessions, probably a song that he may have written during some downtime recording the McGear album in 1974, but he certainly remembered it when they went to do the one-hand clapping thing. Overdubs were done on this, it was put to one side, overdubs done on this as late as sort of mid 1981, so this could have been another of those songs that was mooted for the new Wings album, the follow-up of Back to the Egg, or maybe for the Tug of War album. Now, the fact that some of the overdubs were done at Strawberry Studios in Stockport, which is the recording studio owned by the band 10cc, I think we're pretty safe in saying that Eric Stewart features on this track, and you can definitely hear in this song where the overdubs come in the middle. This is a sort of one of those Paul McCartney music hall vaudeville type songs like Honey Pie or When I'm 64. Not as good as either of those two songs, but still a decent song, a decent B-side, and this is my number 18. Number 17, I've gone for the song In a Hurry, which was a kind of a double A-side with Home Tonight and In a Hurry on the B-side, although it's marked here as AA. This was released in 2019 for Record Store Day and is the most recent song that is going to appear on this chart. Came on this sort of that really nice picture disc for Record Store Day, and both of these songs were songs that were left off of Egypt Station, recorded around the same time, which is a bit of a shame because I think both of these songs would have made Egypt Station a better album. But In a Hurry is a good track. I like it a lot, and that is my number 17. The number 16 on my chart, I've gone for the B-side to Say Say Say. This 12-inch single called Ode to a Koala Bear. Probably one of the weirdest titles for a Paul McCartney song of all time. Not sure when this song originally mooted from, possibly when they were touring Australia in 1975, maybe. The recording of this sort of started again on the 8th of December 1980, so again maybe a track that was maybe thought of to be on the next Wings album, the follow-up album to Back to the Egg, or maybe not. I think that we can this song is very piano driven, and there's reverb all over both the vocals and the instrumentation, but there's a couple of very 10cc-ish guitar solos in this song, so I think we could probably take a punt and say that Eric Stewart is also on this track. Again, it's a pretty harmless song, but I quite like it. So that is my number 16, Ode to a Koala Bear. At number 15, I've gone for the This is the first appearance of a genuine Wings song on the chart. It is Country Dreamer, the B-side of Helen Wheels. There is the vinyl of this. Just a fantastic song. This song originally was to be included in the Red Rose Speedway album when it was mooted as being a double album. It was one of the tracks that got the chop and ended up as a B-side. To me, this song is too good to be a B-side. Just a fantastic song. Paul's vocals superb. Lovely key change on verse 2. You've got Denny playing bass, doing the walking bass, and Henry McCulloch playing pedal steel, which he says was the first time he'd ever played pedal steel, so he did a pretty good job as well. So fantastic harmonies, fantastic melody, really great song. Country Dreamer is my number 15. Number 14 on my list is Paul's first ever solo B-side, the B-side of Another Day, which is Oh Woman, Oh Why. That is the vinyl there, and this song recorded during the Ram sessions. I think it was originally worked through with David Spinoza, but actually on the record, Hugh McCracken plays guitar. One of the first tracks that Denny Sywell played on as well, and there is a great drum sound on this. Paul employs that raspy vocals that I just really love. The gunshots, not a real gun, one of those starter guns, that they use for races. Great song. This is my number 14, Oh Woman, Oh Why. Number 13 for me comes from Young Boy single, the B-side, which is called Looking for You. That is the vinyl. Now, Young Boy was released as two different singles with different B-sides on it. This one obviously emanates from the Flaming Pie sessions. It was recorded in 1996. Very sparse arrangement. It's just Paul, Jeff Lynne and Ringo on this track, and it's a kind of a rock blues jam, really. I think it's fair to say that this probably just came out of a jam with made up lyrics as we went along, but it's got a great atmosphere which is created by that sparse arrangement. Paul's throbbing bass throughout. Again, he uses those sort of rasping vocals that I really love. We get guitar stabs from Jeff Lynne, and Ringo on drums and congas gives it a great sort of backbeat. It's a throwaway song. It's a typical B-side, but it's one that I really like. If you want to seek out Looking for You without having to go and find the single, it is on the Flaming Pie archive collection as a bonus audio song. So that is my number 13, Looking for You. So number 12 on my list, the B-side of Mary Had a Little Lamb, which was called Little Woman Love. There is the vinyl, and this for me, this is a clear example of the B-side being better than the A-side. Really like this track. It's got a real sort of funky feel to it. Now, this song emanates from the Ram sessions, and we learned in the McCartney Legacy that the two guitarists on the Ram sessions, David Spinoza and Hugh McCracken, were often not at the sessions due to other commitments that they had during the sessions, and that is the case here. Neither of those guitarists are on this song, so the guitar duties, acoustic and electric, picked up by Paul. Now, the little piano riff in this that comes in between each sort of verse, people from the UK of a certain age, in other words, my certain age, may recognise that as being very similar to the piano riff in the theme music from a TV show, a film review TV show with Barry Norman in the 70s and 80s, film 75, film 76, film 77, etc. It sounds very similar to me, really reminds me of that theme music. The backing vocals on this, we start to sort of hear, what would become the sort of the Wings, signature tune. Denny Laine is not here yet, but we're hearing Paul and Linda sort of forming those backing vocals that would become very familiar in Wings. And also in the middle of this song, there's a really great sort of slap bass part, played on an upright double bass that sounds really good, and it's played by a guy called Milt Hinton, who was 65 years old at the time, but plays it with great energy, and really like that about the song. Little Woman Love was obviously a song that Paul was very keen on at the time, because he sort of hung on to it for quite a long time. It was played on the 1972 tour and the UK tour in '73. It features in the James Paul McCartney TV special, and it was also played on the early dates of the the 75-76 world tour, usually in a medley with Sea Moon, which is how we find the song on the recently released one, Hand Clapping, as well. So that's it for me. Number 12, Little Woman Love, great song. Talking of Sea Moon, that is my number 11. So originally the B-side of Hi Hi Hi. There is the vinyl there, and obviously in the UK and other territories, Hi 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 was banned, so radio stations didn't play it. So DJs flipped the song over and played Sea Moon, and it became a hit in its own right. But I'm including it here because quite cheekily, but I'm including it here because it was originally a B-side. So this is another attempt at Paul doing a reggae song. It wasn't the first time he tried working a reggae song. We had Obla Di Obla Da, as you remember. Also, a reggae version of Love Is Strange on the Wings Wildlife album. And here he's having another go at doing a reggae song here, and it works really, really well. A very sparse arrangement, and a very laid back arrangement, in so much as he even includes errors in the song, and leaves them in the bit right at the beginning, where it kind of goes through the chord sequence the first time, and then on the second time he misses his cue and he sings, "Is that the intro I should have been in?" And now it's hard to imagine Sea Moon without that "Is that the intro I should have been in the song. It's a little bit of a strange one, because the Wings lineup on this track, they're not playing their normal instruments. For example, you've got Henry McCullough, the lead guitarist. There is no guitar parts in this song, so he's playing drums, which is basically the kick drum on the offbeat, which is the sort of thing that you would expect in a reggae song. You've got Denny Laine playing bass on this. Paul is on piano. Linda is on tambourine and backing vocals. And you've got Denny Sywell plays the glockenspiel part in the middle. That's Denny Sywell playing that, and he and Paul also play cornets in the song. So the brass sound that you hear in that song is Paul and Denny Sywell playing cornets on that. You've also got the added bonus of having Paul's daughters, well, Linda's daughter, Heather McCartney, Linda's daughter, not the horrible big one, but the little one, and Mary McCartney also singing backing vocals on this song. And Sea Moon is a song that has really sort of stood the test of time, although a lot of people would say I don't care if I never hear Sea Moon again. But it's been in and out of the set, his live set, from the word go, when it came out, in 72 and 73, it was in the set, and then it was dropped for a long time, and he brought it back around 2002 for the Back in the World set. I think he even played it on the '89 tour as well, as part of the sound check, because it was included as one of the B-sides on All My Trials, I think, as well. So it's a song that has stood the test of time. not, it sort of became an A-side, originally a B-side, but that is my number 11, that is Sea Moon. Into the top 10 now, and my number 10 is the B-side of the single Press, which was It's Not True. That is the vinyl, the 12-inch single there, and It's Not True clocks in at almost 6 minutes. Now, there were 3 tracks that were on each of the 3 singles that came from Press to Play, the others being Right Away and Tough on a Tightrope, and this one, It's Not True. This is the best of the 3 in my opinion. This track is so good. I think this gets on the album. For me, I much prefer it to something like However Absurd. But obviously this song, it comes from the Press to Play sessions recorded in 1985. It's got that big sort of drum machine sound at the beginning, but then once the song gets going, we get real live drums played by Jerry Marotta. Paul's bass playing throughout this is superb. A song possibly about Linda, in support of criticism of Linda, maybe. Carlos Alomar is playing guitar on that, great guitarist who played that awesome riff on David Bowie's Fame that John Lennon sings on as well. But It's Not True, a track that I really love. That's my number 10. At number 9, I've gone for the extremely underrated B-side of Put It There. That's the 12-inch single, and that is Mama's Little Girl. That is the vinyl. Now, this song sort of emanates from the Red Rose Speedway sessions, and had Red Rose Speedway come out as it was intended as a double album, Mama's Little Girl would have been on it. Now, I think we can assume that the Mama's Little Girl is a song about Heather McCartney, again, the little one, not the horrible big one, and she does sing backing vocals on this as well. Lovely acoustic ballad. Really like this song. I think it is extremely overlooked and underrated. Much better song than people remember it for. There are overdubs on it, particularly in the middle, where we can hear Linda and Denny developing that Wings backing vocals sound, and it sounds really good. Some really nice acoustic guitar in this as well. I really like this song. So my number 9 is Mama's Little Girl, B-side of Put It There. It was a long time coming. Put It There, I think, came out in 1990, so it was a long time in the can. But Mama's Little Girl, my number 9. My number 8, what a throwaway. It is the B-side of the second Beautiful Night CD single, a track called Same Love, which is, I think, not available anywhere else apart from on this CD single. It was recorded in 1988, so before the Flowers in the Dirt sessions. It features absolutely exquisite piano part played by Nicky Hopkins, who we know, played on albums by John Lennon and George Harrison as well. Just fantastic vocal from Paul. Beautiful ballad. How this got thrown away as a B-side, I will never ever know. This is a fantastic song. This should have been on an album, probably Flowers in the Dirt. I'm not sure who plays drums on this. There's no credit on the sleeve to drums, so we can presume it's a drum machine. But possibly Chris Whittins. I don't know. But Same Love, absolutely fantastic song. Criminally consigned to a B-side, but that's my number 8. At number 7, I've gone for the B-side of the single Once Upon a Long Ago, which is called Back on My Feet. There is the vinyl, and this is a song co-written with Elvis Costello. So this was the first song that we got out of the partnership between Paul and Elvis Costello. Obviously, songs written for Flowers in the Dirt and Off the Ground, songs on Off the Ground as well as on Spike, the Elvis Costello album as well. And Back on Your Feet features Elvis Costello as far as the lyrics goes. You can tell that this is a very unusual song for Paul. It's very, very wordy, and it's said that Elvis Costello helped him out with the words, but Elvis doesn't sing on this track. He doesn't play on this track either, but it is a great, great song, and gave us great encouragement of what was to come from the McCartney-McManus songwriting partnership, and this was a great start. It was recorded in 1987, so it was kind of around the time of Once Upon a Long Ago. It's got different musicians on it. Tim Rennick on guitar, and the guitars really come crashing in on the choruses on this song as well, and Nick Glennie Smith on keyboards and Charlie Morgan on drums, which I think is the only time that Paul played with Charlie Morgan. Charlie Morgan was a veteran of the Tom Robinson band, and he also played on Kate Bush's early albums as well. Great song. That is my number 7, Back on My Feet. It's at number 6, just missing out on the top 5, but there's no doubt that my number 6 is one of Paul McCartney's best ever B-sides. It's the B-side of My Brave Face, and it's the song Flying to My Home. That is the vinyl. I always think of Flying to My Home as being a McCartney McManus composition, but it's not. It's a Paul solo composition, and a fantastic one it is too. Some really interesting parts in this song, particularly the sort of the a cappella vocal bit at the beginning, where he builds it up by putting layers and layers of vocals on top of each other, a bit like 10cc did with I'm Not in Love. Paul plays pretty much everything on this. He plays bass, he plays guitar, he plays drums on this. Hamish Stewart plays electric guitar on this and plays the solo on the song. Chris Whittens is on this as well, but just plays synth on this as well, and Linda's harmonies are there as well. Really, really great song. It's just missed out on my top 5, but as I say, for me, this is one of Paul's best ever B-sides. Okay, so into the top 5. My number 5 is the B-side of Junior's Farm, Sally G. There is the vinyl there. Now, Sally G, sort of a made-up scenario of an affair between Paul and a country singer. The song was inspired when Paul took Wings to Nashville in 1974. They took in a lot of live music, and he saw a singer called Diane G, and that was the original title of the song, but he changed it because he didn't want to get sued. But a fantastic song. This is the first song recorded with Jimmy McCulloch on lead guitar and Jeff Britton on drums, although there isn't any lead guitar as such on this song. Jimmy McCulloch just plays acoustic guitar, but it's the first song that they recorded in Nashville. Wings were helped by some country musicians, Bob Willis and Johnny Gimbel on a violin, and Lloyd Green on pedal steel, and they add to this song immensely. There is a shifting point in this song, the mid-late, where the minor chords are played. Me and Sally took up, things began to look up. That part, that is a shifting part in the song where it kind of moves slightly from being a country song to being a Wings song, and that is quite instrumental in the makeup of this song. Incredibly catchy song, really, really good song. Always really loved it. It got picked up. It was a B-side, but it got picked up by the country music radio stations in America, and they played it a lot. And then Paul decided to release it as an A-side, but the moment had kind of passed. But Sally G, fantastic song. That's my number 5. So moving on to number 4 for me, it is the B-side of the My Love single, which was The Mess. That is the vinyl there. The Mess, this version of The Mess was recorded in The Hague in the Netherlands, and this is just a fantastic version of this song. Now, Wings had loads and loads of attempts to get this down in the studio and include it as part of the Red Rose Speedway album. They never bettered this version in The Hague, which is just absolutely fantastic. It's full of twists and turns and fantastic harmonies, fantastic guitar playing. I love Denny Sywell's drumming in this is syncopated drumming in various places. This song for me has got everything. There is another live version that Paul has put out as part of the Big Barn box, the live in Europe, where there was a version recorded in Berlin. It's not quite as good as this version that was recorded in The Hague, but possibly the guitar solo in the Berlin version is better. But this is an absolutely fantastic song. The Mess, I love it. It's a real shame that they never managed to get a good studio version down, because it would have really sort of added a bit of counterbalance to Red Rose Speedway with so many ballads on that album. But my number 4 is The Mess live at The Hague. So when we get to number 3, we get to a little bit of a grey area as far as territories go. My number 3 is the B-side of My Love Kintyre, which is Girls' School. That is the record there. Now, this I think was originally a double A side. In the UK, they played My Love Kintyre. They never gave Girls' School a chance whatsoever. In America, it was the other way round. They played Girls' School. They didn't really play My Love Kintyre. So consequently, we've got a B-side here, which would probably be considered as an A-side in the US. But for me, it is very, very strongly a B-side. And another case for me where the B-side Girls' School is better than the A-side My Love Kintyre. I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but this is an out-and-out rocker, one of the out-and-out rockers performed by the version of Wings that include Jimmy McCulloch and Joe English. Absolutely superb. The lyrics are nonsense. They're all taken from porn movies, Yuki the School Mistress and all that sort of nonsense. But Girls' School, just absolutely fantastic. It rocks its socks off, and that is my number 3, Girls' School. My number 2 is also going to get people shouting at me. It is the live version of Coming Up, which was the B-side of the UK single Coming Up from McCartney 2. I know in America the live version was the A-side, but here it's very clearly the B-side, so that is why I am including it. This version here, it was recorded in Glasgow in Scotland, and part of the the well bootlegged Wings Last Flight. The reason why I'm including this is the actual song Coming Up, the McCartney 2 version, has never been one of my favourites. I don't like the fact that it is so sort of tinny and the vocals have been sped up. When you hear the live version here, the vocals are at normal speed and it sounds absolutely fantastic. Of course, on the UK tour of 1979, Wings had a live horn section, the same horn section that was on the Wings Over America tour, so that adds to it as well. Whereas on the on the McCartney 2 version, we've got synthesized horns on it as well. So that is why Coming Up live in Glasgow is my number 2, and I know people will shout at me for that. Okay, so we've arrived at the number 1 spot. Have you guessed what it is? Yeah, my number 1 Paul McCartney B-side of all time is the B-side of Good Night Tonight. This is the 12-inch version. A song called Daytime, Nighttime Suffering. There's the vinyl. Now, Paul had always wanted Wings to be a band, or always wanted to think of them as being a band rather than just a vehicle for his own, his own song ambitions. He encouraged the other members of the band to write and bring in songs. And for Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, this was no different. Allegedly, in the middle of the Back to the Egg sessions, he said to everyone in the band, go home over the weekend and write a song. And the best song, and this included Linda as well, the best song will be the B-side of the single. Well, they didn't stand a chance, did they? They did. When Paul can just pull a song like Daytime, Nighttime Suffering out of his arse, they had no chance whatsoever. Not that Wings didn't contribute to this song greatly. They did. There are great harmonies. There's great rhythm within this song. I love the sort of the a cappella part in the middle as well. And, just a really, really, really great song. And for me, this is the number one B-side that Paul has ever written. Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, and its A-side, Good Night Tonight, should have been on the Back to the Egg album. Both of these songs are probably better than anything that made that album, and it would have made the album twice the album that it was. So that is it. That is my number one. Daytime, Nighttime Suffering. Fantastic song. That's my number one. So that is my top 20 Paul McCartney B-sides. And do you agree with them? Of course you don't. Of course you don't. So please tell me down in the comments. You can tell me your top 20, your top 10, your top 5, or even just your favourite Paul McCartney B-side. I'd love to hear from you. I read all your comments and I will respond to all your comments as well. Little bit of housekeeping. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up, give the video a like, because it really does help the channel, and it helps people that are not subscribed to the channel to find this video. So please do me a favour and give the video a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It is absolutely free, won't cost you a penny, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. If you also had a few people saying that they don't always get a notification about when there's a new video or when I'm doing a live stream or something like that. So please remember to hit the notification bell as well, and you should get a notification of when there's a new video or a new live stream. But we are in the hands of the YouTube gods as far as that one is concerned. Okay, well, that is it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.